Yo, Dallas Cowboys State of the Union, back at it again. Coming to talk to y'all a little bit about the Cowboys news, of course, and things of that nature. First of all, okay, a lot of people, there's a lot of speculation going around that, you know, the organization doesn't believe in Jason Garrett and things of this nature. I will say this. First of all, I think that the organization thinks very highly of Jason Garrett. A lot of people always say, oh, well, you know, Jason Garrett just can't get it done. And, you know, they see the Sean McVay's taking his team to the Super Bowl in 2 years. Doug Peterson did it in 2 years. And so a lot of people expect, because Garrett has been here 10 years or over 10 years and at least 10 years as a head coach, that he should have been taking his team to a Super Bowl. While some of those things are true, I agree to a certain extent. I also always tell people, listen here, look at the cards he was dealt. When Jason Garrett became the head coach, this team's salary cap was in pure hell. They had made a lot of bad free agency signings. They had traded away draft picks. So those 8-8 seasons, Jason Garrett wasn't playing with a top team. No. I think in 2014, it was a really good team. And because you had experience with Tony Romo, with Jason Witten, that team outperformed, and you had a line that was arguably the best line in the NFL at that time. But I always tell people, I don't think the Jason Garrett era started until really 2015.
Yeah, not only that is, you know, you speak on he had to play with the cards that he was dealt with. When he got here, this team was old, wasn't young, bad contracts, you know, and you know, not only that, but bad draft picks from you know before. You know, 2009 was the worst in my honest opinion. That's the worst draft class in history. You know, they had 12 picks. Majority of those picks were spent on special teams. So when you have a bad draft like that, that's going to set your franchise back about 3 years before you can fully integrate the players you want. Not to mention, he came in and he was dealing with Wade Phillips players.
He was dealing with Wade Phillips.
Normally it takes head coaches about 4 years for them to fully integrate the culture and get the right kind of guys that they want to fit that culture.
And I think that we're starting to see that now with the group of guys that we got in here. We got a lot of guys who believe in Jason Garrett. And so I always tell people, I say it's hard to win in the NFL. We complain about not being able to, not making it to the Super Bowl, not advancing to NFC Championship. And while I understand those things, as a fan, you want your team to succeed and go as far as possible. But I also say this too. 12 teams made the playoffs, okay? Only one of those 12 teams, well, 32 teams in the NFL, only one of them 32 teams actually reached the goal that they set out for at the beginning of the season. We were one of those 12 teams. You look at how this team started, starting 3-5, and then ended up winning 9 out of their last 10 games, winning a playoff game, advancing to the second round of the playoff, winning their division. This is not just players doing this. These players are buying in to the Jason Garrett Jason Garrett's scheme. They're buying into what he is selling, and they continue to play for him. And so a lot of people always say that, but I say it could be a lot worse. We can have Jeff Fisher. We can have Chip Kelly. We can have a lot of these coaches in here that come in here, blow up the team, and then we're sitting in purgatory for another 4 or 5 years.
I mean, he could also be Marvin Lewis, and I hear that's the comparison that they're comparing Jason Garrett to.
However,
Marvin Lewis has never won a playoff game. He's 0-7 lifetime. In the NFL playoffs.
Jason Garrett has won 2 playoff games, and I know that's not a lot and things of that nature, but you got to look at it like this. This team has won the division 3 out of the last 5 seasons. That's not just by having good players. That's also by people buying into what Jason Garrett Jason Garrett is saying. Now, I also say this, too. Yes, we need to get better in certain places or whatever to get to that next level, reach that next destination, and hopefully go far beyond that. But you have to look at the coach that you have. You know, he has. It takes a lot for coaches to be in this system, be with this organization, with an owner who is very hands-on, and with all of the backlash that you get in being with America's team. And I think Jason Garrett has done well at handling that pressure. Now, I do believe that him going into this season as a lame duck, it's not necessarily a bad thing. People's like, oh yeah, he's coaching for his job. Jason Garrett was also coaching for his job in 2014.
Yeah.
So people, oh well, now Jerry and Steven, they're not happy with him. Don't pay attention to just because they haven't worked out a deal with him right now and they're not getting an extension with him right now does not mean that they do not believe in him and they're looking past him,
But make no mistake about it, if he does not get them to the NFC Championship game, he will be out. At the end of the day, Jerry wants to win. People want to say, oh, Jerry cares about his money. He cares about putting people in the seats and all of this and that. But no, he cares about winning. He even said he's irked by that when people say he doesn't care about winning. Yeah. And Stephen Jones cares about winning. Yeah. And Stephen Jones, he pays attention a lot to his, Stephen and Will McClay and those boys.
Right.
And Stephen is the one I'm going to pay attention to because if he says we need a new coach, I think it will happen.
Yeah, I think it will happen. Yeah, but I don't think he's just sold on getting a new coach as yet.
No, not now.
I think he's sending messages like, hey, we have to get to that next level. Because
he's even said it himself, there's a reason, we got to find a reason why we haven't gotten over the hump, meaning the divisional round. Because I think if next season comes around and they lose in the divisional round again, I think you have to make a change.
You have to make
even though the players are buying into his process.
Yeah.
I think you would have to make a change because 11 years would have been to pass by, and he still can't get over the hump.
I will also say this too. Now, everybody has all these rumors about Sean Payton coming to Dallas and stuff. First of all, Sean Payton got 2 more years in his contract in New Orleans. The only way that can happen right now is if New Orleans was to release him, and I don't think they're going to fire him. Or 2, you trade some draft picks or something of leverage to get him here. But I also say this too. Sean Payton also had 3 7-9 seasons where Drew Brees was throwing for 4,000 or 5,000 yards a season and stuff like that. Sean Payton also, besides that first Super Bowl, has not gotten to where he needs to be. One might say that he's one of the bigger reasons that they lost the NFC Championship game because of coaching. We always talk about poor coaching from Jason Garrett. But a lot of these coaches make mistakes. But we like Sean Payton because the offense is explosive. And we like Sean Payton because he's on the sideline yelling. And we don't like Jason Garrett because Jason Garrett claps. But don't think that you get Sean Payton in this system that automatically means that they're going to win. Because if that's the case, Sean Payton would be Bill Belichick. I'm sorry. But Bill Belichick is the only coach that I'm like, okay, I know that if I get him in this system, he's going to turn things around.
Not only that, is people talk about explosive offense. That's the way the NFL is going these days. And when you talk about explosive offense, look what just happened to the Rams.
Yeah. I always tell people, I don't even call it explosive offense. I call it finesse offense. It's explosive, yes, it has a lot of smoke screens, things of that nature. But look at this. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have been to 9 Super Bowls and won 6 off of dinking and dunking, 10-yard passes.
Basically taking what the defense has given them. They have made a living off of that.
Yeah.
So it's
6 Super Bowls.
6 Super Bowls. So
and it's not by having explosive offense.
So when you're talking about it at the end of the game, at the end of the day, defense still wins championships. You saw that last night. The Patriots defense just harassed Jared Goff all night, especially on the final play. Well, not the final play, but the last drive when they was heading towards the red zone. Is Belichick, he dials up a 0 blitz. He sends a guy up the middle and then forces Jared Goff to throw off his back foot. He's not able to set his feet properly, and you see that ball on the throne. At the end of the day, defense still wins championship. Don't get me wrong, offense scores points, but defense still is name of the game at the end of the day.
I'll also say this before we get out of here. In order for this team, I feel like in order for this Cowboys team to get to that next level, it's bigger than just coaching. We have to be on the same page in all 3 fronts, all 3 phases. And I'm not talking about offense, defense, and special teams. I'm talking about front office with making the right draft picks, which they have. Also taking chances, making chances in free agency. One thing about Stephen Jones, one thing about this organization, which is good, they don't pay a lot for players, but sometimes you have to pay a little bit for an explosive player that can take you over the hump. And look, also, with coaching, you have to coach right. You have to put your players in the best position to win. But then ultimately, it comes down to player execution, okay? Yes, your coach has to put you in the best opportunity or the best position to win. But at the same time, if you have miscues from poor player execution, it all has to gel together.
And look at what the Rams did. They went out and traded for Talib. They went out and traded for Peters. They went out and paid Adama Suh. And they was able to roll the dice in free agency and get to the Super Bowl.
And look, they got to a Super Bowl.
Even though they lost.
Unfortunately, they didn't win. But, hey, those are the type of things that you have to do. That's what the Eagles did. They went out, they got a lot of free agents and stuff like that, and because of that, they was able to win a Super Bowl. So again, I gotta say it again, we have to be on the same page in all three fronts, and if we can do that, this team can get where it needs to be.